Hello and welcome to the NinjaLaunchpad.com webinar, Learning How to Write NinjaTrader Indicators and Strategies. My name is Scott Daggett. I wrote the NinjaScript Programmer's Launchpad ebook, and I'm going to present to you the knowledge, kind of an overview of the knowledge that you'll need in order to begin writing your own indicators and strategies. So this is the outline of the material we'll cover here in this presentation, and really this first bullet, what knowledge is required. This is really what the whole webinar is about, and we're going to drill down into that. We'll start with a high-level view, then we'll take a look at what C#.NET language and .NET framework knowledge you'll need. The good news is that you don't need to be an expert and know it all, and we'll kind of focus in on the things that you will need to learn. We'll give you a brief introduction to the NinjaScript code editor, which is the environment that you'll use to write your indicators and strategies. And then we'll focus in on what knowledge is needed in order to write NinjaTrader indicators, and then what you need to know to write strategies, which is basically all of the knowledge in indicators plus some. And then we'll talk about how you can go ahead and get that knowledge and experience so that you can write your own trading platform indicators and strategies for NinjaTrader. So first of all, a high-level view of what knowledge is required. Now, the assumption, of course, is that you are a trader. You have trading knowledge and knowledge of trading platforms, so from a user standpoint. So you're familiar with technical analysis, which is based on price and volume concepts. You're familiar with price charting and the different chart types, your bar charts, candle, range, tick and time bar charts, volume bar charts, and so forth. Point and figure, there's a whole slew of them. And of course you don't need to know all of them, just the ones that you're typically accustomed to using. And then you need to know what indicators are, something as simple as a moving average. What are they and how are they used to assist in making trading decisions. And then if you're programming automation strategies, you need to know some concepts around those. And that would include trade execution, something that as a trader you're already familiar with, and trade management concepts. Different order types, market orders, limit orders, stop limit orders, and stop loss orders, things like that, time in force, bracket orders, and that type of thing. And then of course the trading platform. Now NinjaTrader is not the only trading platform that I've used or written indicators for, or strategies, but it's the one that I currently use. And I just love those NinjaTrader engineers for what they've done. First of all, they've opened up the entire C#.NET programming environment and the .NET framework as their scripting environment. That's huge. But it's not just the fact that they've done that, but it's the way that they've done that. And I could go on for hours, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time. Just know that I am a NinjaTrader fan. Very, very impressed with what they've done. And so in addition to a little bit of C#.NET and the .NET framework, you need to know the NinjaScript, C# extensions, if you will, the programming environment, the classes that they've added, the methods of those classes, and so forth, the events that drive the trading environment. And if you're going to write software for any purpose, in any language, you're going to need to have some understanding of debugging and testing concepts and techniques. That's just the way of life of software development. Now, here are some references for C#.NET and the .NET framework information that you can get. This link right here and this link right here are the same. They take you to the MSDN library, and from there you'll see a list of links underneath that. You'll click on Development Tools and Languages, and then you'll see Visual Studio.net. You click on that, and then Visual Basic and Visual C#, then Reference, then Visual C# Language, and then you'll see these two links right here. So you can get a tour of the C# language, and then you have the entire programmer's reference at hand right there. Now, if you're the kind of person that likes to learn through books, you can go out to the NinjaLaunchpad.com references page, and there are a few books there that you might consider, especially if you're brand new to programming. There's a book there called C# Joes to Pros, which might be a good choice. So you might consider those if you like to learn by books. 3 choices out there. Also, for the .NET Framework information, again, go out to the MSDN library. .NET Development would be the next link, and then you're going to be interested in .NET Framework version 3.5. Now, the current version, as I present this information, of NinjaTrader is version 7, and right now that supports the .NET Framework 3.5. So in future versions of NinjaTrader, just go ahead and see what the supported framework version is, and that would be then your environment from the Microsoft side of things. And one of the books out there on the references page that I mentioned earlier does include references for the .NET Framework as well. Again, if you like to learn by books. But right here, some free references out there. I use that programmer's reference a lot. Very handy. So, what do you need to know of the C#.NET programming language? Well, for those who are new to programming, you need to know object-oriented programming principles, especially as they're implemented in C#.NET. So what are objects and classes? What is inheritance? What is polymorphism? The scope, private and public, for example. What are properties on classes and objects? Constructors and destructors. What are namespaces? So these are some of the basic concepts, object-oriented programming concepts, that you want to know about. And then you want to know some of the C# language constructs. You don't need to know everything, but you need to know what variables are. How do you declare variables? They're strongly typed in C#. And what are the different types? And then you'll need to know some of the flow of control constructs there. If then else, how is that implemented in C#? Switch statements, looping, how do you do that? The logical operators. Is this greater than that? Is this equal to that? Those type of operators. Try, catch, finally blocks, which deal with exceptions. When and how do you use those? You want to know about structures or structs, which are very handy in enums, very handy for NinjaTrader developers. And then functions, otherwise known as methods, on classes, and know about those. Using statements, which is how you incorporate other namespaces to get at the classes in those namespaces. So not real complicated stuff here that we're talking about. So kind of the basics you need to know in order to program NinjaTrader indicators and strategies. You'll also need to understand event-driven, multi-threaded programming. This is typical in a graphical user interface. So when you click on a button on a window, for example, that's an event, and it triggers some action. Well, you have events that happen in NinjaTrader, usually based on something that happens with market data. Now, you don't need to be an expert in event-driven or multi-threaded programming, but you do need to understand the concepts. The nice thing is that NinjaTrader takes care of a lot of it for you, makes it easy to take advantage of. And I know this sounds like a sales pitch for NinjaTrader in this respect, but it's not intended to be. I'm just telling you my personal opinion. They've done a great job with that programming environment. So the C#.NET for the .NET framework, actually, it's available in many languages. This is a kind of a shrunk down a picture of a poster, the Microsoft.NET Framework for version 3.5, and it lists the different namespaces and classes that are available, and they're divided into different categories here. Windows Presentation Foundation, Windows Forms, some web-based stuff here, communications and workflow, some data-oriented stuff, fundamentals. That's a huge amount of information there. Don't worry, you don't need to know it all. That's why it's X'd out. So let's go to the next slide, and this will tell you pretty much what you need to focus on in terms of the .NET framework. So you got like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different namespaces that you're going to be primarily interested in, and this shows you the different classes or types in those namespaces that you're going to want to learn about. And as you're learning, the key thing is just to become aware. When you get to writing code, you've got the references there that you can go to help you to get the syntax right. So get the concepts in your mind as you're learning, and then when you go and you're actually creating your first indicator, for example, then take the time and get to learn the syntax as you implement it. So that's a good way to approach the learning process. So the system namespace, you're going to have your data types in there, integer, string, and so forth, arrays, date, time span, and so forth. And then in collections, you're dealing with data in trading applications, lots of market data. So you need to know about collections. You contain that data in various collections, and so you need to know. I think this list here is pretty good to be aware of. Now, NinjaTrader provides some classes of its own that you can use, like for example the data series, which is used a lot, and so it operates in a way similar to some of the concepts you'll see from these things. So get to know these, and then data series and other series in NinjaTrader, not Strader, NinjaTrader will come across pretty easy for you. Now at some point you may want to start reading from or writing to files on disk, and that's where system.io comes in. So you'll learn about directories, files, and paths, how to read and write different file structures there. Getting started though, off the bat, you won't need to know that. System.windows.forms. I just use MessageBox as a way to provide feedback to a user for user input validation. If there's some errors there, then I pop up a message box to let them know. And that happens right when the chart loads, for example, or the strategy. And I might use that for debugging purposes in some cases if I'm not using a full-fledged debugger. And then you might want to know about the font class in system.drawing. So not a whole lot that you have to learn out of that big, huge .NET framework in order to be able to program meaningful indicators and strategies. Here's a quick introduction to the code editor, which is the environment that you'll be using to create your indicators and strategies. Now you can use your favorite editor, whatever it might be, and then incorporate that code into this environment, but that'd be your personal choice. But rather than walk through this slide, let me just show you. Here's the control center for NinjaTrader, and so you go to Tools, and you can go to New NinjaScript, and let's say we're going to create an indicator. What that's going to do is it's going to bring up this wizard, and so I'm just going to click on Next, and I'd give it a name, a description, and this I'm not going to talk about. Click on Next, and then it prompts you for various things. Input parameters. These are things that the user of the indicator is going to set. So kind of user settings or properties, you can think of them. And then next it prompts you for plots. What lines are you going to draw? That type of thing. And so you just kind of go through, and then you click on Generate. I'll just go ahead and do that. I haven't really put in anything meaningful. This is here for oscillators, by the way. And the purpose of this is not to teach you the programming, but kind of give you an idea of what knowledge you'll need in order to write programs. And so a brief introduction to the editor here, and it's just now popping up. Let me move it on into the visual space, shrink it down here a bit. So this is the editor environment. Now you'll notice first of all that it is color coded, right? So you've got comments. This is a comment indicator. Those are in green. Keywords are in blue. String literals are in a dark red color here, and so on. So that's the color coding, makes it easier to read the code. And then you'll notice a little plus sign here by this boxed in variable. So if I click on that, it's going to expand it, and you'll see that it's a region with an end region marker here. And so that just is a way to fold up the text that you're coding there. This region happens to be called variables. You could call it whatever you wanted, and that's the name it'll be given. Now let me run through the toolbar here. You got your usual save, print. This is, I think, is a print preview. There's an output window, so you can use in your code here some print statements, and it will print out to just a sheet of paper, so to speak, electronic sheet of paper, and you can print out the values of variables or whatever, and kind of help with your debugging process. That's what that's for. You got cut, copy, paste, delete, undo, redo, and over here you got your search and replace or find and replace. This little guy here you'll be clicking on quite a bit. He's the compile button. And then you've got outdent. So for example, if I selected this here and I outdent, it moves it to the left, and then indent moves it to the right. And then you've got comment and uncomment. Now when I click on comment, it's going to put the comment markers over here to the left, far left, and then when I click on uncomment, it takes them away. Now another nice thing about the editor, let's say I wanted to add a new line. Yeah, I'll add it there. So I got my insertion point right here. I hit enter. It knows right where to start that next line. Then I type the keyword this, which refers to the class, which in this case is my custom indicator, and then I'll hit the period, and it's going to bring up this list of class members, which is nice. So I don't need to remember the spelling of all of the methods and properties and instance variables that are part of this class and its ancestors, but they're right there in a list. And so if I click on one, here's an indicator called Bollinger, and it comes up with a description of that thing. Find a different example. Those are actual indicators. This is a more simple instance variable. It's a color, tells you the type. So it's got all of the basic editor features that you would expect to find in a coding editor. It does not have a debugger in it, but you can hook it up to Visual Studio, not the Express version, but a paid version of Visual Studio, and use its debugger, which I'm not going to demonstrate right now. I'm just going to close that window, come back to the presentation here. So that's an intro to the code editor. Now what do you need to know for coding NinjaTrader indicators? Well, I showed you the wizard there. So you create the wizard, it creates a bunch of code structure for you, then you modify that code. But you need to know, okay, where's the data? So you think of the data, you've got these price bars on the chart. A bar has an open, a high, a low, and a close. Where's that data? How do you get at it? How do you get at the volume? So you need to know that. And by the way, all of these, except for this last item here, are really taken from the table of contents of the NinjaScript Programmer's Launchpad ebook. So it provides this information for you in a very nice kind of yellow brick road format with a starting point, a path, and a finishing point. User settings. How do you provide the user of your indicator, which may be you, an easy way to modify the parameters that direct the indicator and how it operates? For example, a simple moving average. It needs a period. Is it a 10 period moving average? Is it a 20 period, a 200, whatever? Well, you can set up a property so that the user can just type that in without having to know any code and set that moving average to behave properly. You want to make sure that the data is there before you use it. Now, there are some properties that are going to be part of an indicator, part of a data series, and in some cases a value for a particular bar might not be set, and so you want to know how to determine if it has been set before you use it, and then act accordingly in your code. So the book explains how to do that. Of course, this information is also available in NinjaTrader's help file, and you can always get support, excellent support, in the NinjaTrader support forum. They're wonderful, they're fast, and they know what they're doing. It's a really, really nice environment. Input series and the input keyword. Now, a lot of indicators will base their calculations, say, on the closing price. But you might want to make it so that the user of the indicator could change that. Maybe they want to use the high or the low or the midpoint of a bar, or maybe even the result of another indicator's calculation. So you can open up that ability to do them and then refer to the data as input instead of close, for example. And that lets the user decide what the data will be. Now, the value series, whereas the input series is for input, the value series you can think of as for output or plotted lines. And so the value and the values keywords give you access to those and some flexibility to allow redirections there. Drawing text and images on a chart. NinjaTrader provides a whole slew of drawing methods that you can use to paint the chart up the way that you want it to appear, put messages out there, put arrows, different forms of graphical indicators out there. How do you do that? You need to know. And you might want to create some custom methods that you can use from different indicators and strategies. You may even want to wrap some of your code into an external assembly, an external DLL that is used from within your code. That's optional, obviously, and even external assemblies are not truly supported, but you can do it in NinjaTrader. Now, what's grayed out here, it's grayed out because it's not included in the book, is multiple time frames and multiple instruments. And generally speaking, when you get into strategies especially, you may be interested in having your strategy make trading decisions based on multiple time frames. Or maybe you want to trade a basket of stocks using, or instruments, whatever they might be, stocks, futures, whatever. And so you want to know how to handle those multiple aspects there, which does complicate the code a little bit, but again, it's once you understand the concepts, then you establish your practices to comprehend them and take it from there. Now, what if you want to code strategies? You need to know everything that you needed for programming indicators. Plus, you need to know about NinjaTrader's trade management options for writing automation strategies. And they have done so much work for you already. As I see it, there are 4 categories. Managed is the easiest and really the best for newbies, if you will, for creating your first strategies, the managed approach to automation strategies. And then you have a little twist on managed, which is advanced manage. It's still easy, but it gives you a little more flexibility with greater control. And then there's advanced trade management, or ATM strategies. You can actually use ATM strategies from within your code. And so that gives the user of your strategy the most automated control over position management. They can create multi-part exits. They can have trailing stops. You don't have to code a thing for that. All you're doing is taking advantage of a named ATM strategy. Beautiful. Just a beautiful thing there. And you can provide options too to your users, so they could choose between, for example, this method, whatever you want to call it to them, and their own ATM strategy. And then there's unmanaged for the masochists among us. So if we want to manage everything, I mean, the NinjaTrader engineers have done a huge amount of beautiful work regarding trade management. But there may be some specific circumstances where you want to do things a little differently. Well, that's an advanced topic, much advanced, and it will take a lot of extra work to make it happen, but that door is there to be opened if you want it. Generally, I would say most developers are going to be interested in advanced managed and the ATM strategies. That's my point of view. You also need to know the operational characteristics of automation strategies. There are various configuration settings that are kind of out of the box. How do they impact the operation of your strategies when they're working? How do they affect it when you're back testing? What's the difference between back testing and real-time data? And what's the difference between real-time and real-time delayed, if you will? How do these different conditions impact your strategy? You need to know so you can account for that in your code. There are some characteristics also. For example, in NinjaTrader today, there's no fill or kill option. It's also known as all or none. But again, the NinjaTrader engineers have done a tremendous job in the way they handle partial fills. So it's really not such a bad issue. In fact, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. And then there are more advanced debugging and testing skills you're going to need, because now you're talking about money on the line. You're going to be talking, you got this event-driven environment. Different things can happen. Now you've got your own computer operating, and then you've got the servers, the exchange, and you need to know what might happen and to be able to account for that and handle different scenarios that might happen. So strategy is definitely more complicated than writing indicators, and in fact they typically make use of indicators in making trade decisions. I would say that you could kind of divide up a strategy into two parts. One is trade management and the other is trade decisions. It's kind of, generally speaking, the way that I break things up. Of course they're connected, but logically I kind of split them up that way. Now, final slide here. How do you get the training for writing your indicators and strategies in NinjaTrader? Well, we've already talked about some references there on slide 4, MSDN and various books, ebooks, and so forth. If you are the kind of person who learns through visually, there are some video-based courses available. Of course, you can do a web search out there to find out what you can find. Udemy.com has quite a few C# instructional courses that are available out there. I have not taken any, but just looking at the content of some, it looks like they'd be pretty good. So if this is your style of learning, that option is available to you. And then NinjaScript programming, built on top of C# and the .NET framework. Of course, you got NinjaTrader's help file and the support forum. The help file is very good. The support forum, of course, it's as good as the people behind it, and those folks are just fantastic. Words just don't express. I am so impressed with their speed and their knowledge. Very, very helpful. What a beautiful thing to have that kind of support when you're out there writing code and you run into a problem and you don't have to spin your wheels. You just go out there after you've done your homework, ask some questions, and boom, you get some help right away. It's a beautiful thing. NinjaScript Programmer's Launchpad, the ebook. Okay, so this is a shameless plug for my book. We talked about some of the things in the table of contents there. You can go out to the NinjaLaunchpad.com website. There are some excerpts there. You can look at the first 15% of the book. Follow the link from that website out to smashwords.com. Take a look at it, and you might find that that almost free book, it's only $5.99, can save you a lot of time in coming up to speed with writing indicators. And its focus is indicators, but of course you're going to need that same base of knowledge for writing strategies as well. There's also Big Mike's Trading Forum, and it has a NinjaTrader programming section, very, very helpful. Consider becoming an elite member, which is done for a fee. It's a one-time, lifetime fee. Not very expensive. I don't know what it is today, but very, very useful site. And there are some NinjaScript training services. Just do a web search out there, and you'll find that some folks have some training courses that you can take, maybe video-based, maybe webinar-based, live webinars, and that may be an option for you, depending on how much time you have and how quickly you need to come up to speed. And then trading. Okay, I'm assuming you're already knowledgeable on trading, and everybody has their own opinion, and I'm no different. So you go out to the references page or section on NinjaLaunchpad.com, and I'll give you my opinion out there on some good sources for trading information, technical analysis. So there you go. That is an overview of the knowledge that you'll need to create your own NinjaTrader indicators and strategies. I hope this has been helpful to you. Thank you very much for watching the video, and I wish you the best in your efforts in trading and in writing software for the NinjaTrader platform. Thank you very much.